promoting a healthy environment. It's the air we breathe. Clean, safe water. Responsible management of our natural resources. We protect and restore for a sustainable future. The environment matters.
We start using this fabric and this matting and creating layers almost like a burrito.
It's not something you're likely to find on a menu, but it's a recipe for improving stream habitat in a big way. Plus,
hands-on experiences are some of the best because they teach the best.
A local 8th grade science project is getting worldwide attention and teaching a valuable lesson in restoring our environment. Hello everyone and welcome to a new season of Environment Matters. I'm Kathy Costco with the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection. It's a project to restore 15 miles of the Little Coal River. Sponsored by the DEP, when finished, the project will improve the water quality from Danville downstream to McCorkle. As the DEP's Mike Huff reports, it's a project that's been years in the making.
At first glance, it just looks like a muddy mess. But by later this spring, you should see a big difference. Crews began working on this stretch of the Little Coal in January, working to improve the stream flow, stabilize some banks, and create a better stream ecosystem to help enhance the fishery.
Long before I came to the DEP, some good people, some biologists and mining inspectors were looking at the river and determining how to help it. Multiple impacts have occurred out here, from pre-law surface mining to just your typical road construction. Construction of Corridor G had some impact on the river. So the biologists have been looking at it for years, trying to determine how to help the fish get back in the river and how to work with the sediment load that's in the river.
Too much sediment from runoff and erosion can actually suffocate aquatic life in a stream. It's especially harmful to the bottom-dwelling insects that provide food for fish.
With this project, we've established a series of different structure types that both promote the flow of sediment in the river during high flow events and fish habitat structures that will create habitat for both fish and aquatic insects. These structures involve the use of logs and boulders that will, in places, narrow the river to enhance the power of the water to move sediment through that particular part of the system. In other places, we're actually hardening the banks, the eroding banks, with logs and rocks, and then planting a lot of vegetation back on the banks so that the river can take care of itself in the future.
Today, crews are working on what stream designers call a woody toe structure.
We dig down below the water surface into the bank that's eroding, and we bury large trees, root balls, big branches up to about the water level. And then we start using this fabric and this matting and creating layers almost like a burrito. We step back up the bank. In between those layers, we're using live cuttings of sycamore, willow, and river birch to get the plants established. Once we get up to about the bank full elevation with this structure, we then plant trees. Not only does it prevent any more sediment load coming from that particular piece of bank, but it also stabilizes it enough that it will actually collect some sediment from the river during high water events.
And once they're in place, change typically comes quickly.
There's been shown on previous projects throughout the United States that as soon as these structures were completed, video of trout and other aquatics moving right into the area once it was complete.
The $3 million project is expected to be completed in 2014. In Julian, I'm Mike Huff for Environment Matters.
The project also complements several other restoration efforts in the Coal River watershed by the DEP and other agencies already completed on the river. Their interest in stream restoration along the Little Coal is getting worldwide attention for one middle school science class in Boone County. As the DEP's Tom Haleigh reports, Students at Madison Middle are getting hands-on lessons on the environment and the media.
The Little Coal River flows past Madison Middle School, where students in Mr. Bias' 8th grade science class are getting the opportunity to get a first-hand look at the work done by engineers and scientists from the DEP.
We do have the field trips coming up.
Students will get to conduct their own water testing and get hands-on lessons about pollution sources, stream flows, and aquatic life.
Welcome to Madison Middle School.
Madison Middle's proactive approach impressed electronics giant Samsung so much it named the school one of 15 finalists nationwide in its Solve for Tomorrow National Science Contest. Students produced a video detailing their efforts on the Little Coal. Chris Bias said the program presented a unique opportunity.
Anybody that has been around any kind of teenagers now knows that they have to have some piece of technology in their hand all the time, so to be able to use the latest equipment and to be able to speak with engineers and say that's exactly what we use on the job, or sometimes that's nicer than what we have on the job, is great for the kids, and they see that these are actual tools that they're going to be using in the field and then as they move on to college.
It's very different because doing it hands-on, you can actually see what it's like, and when you're reading it, you can't get that.
Students say the success of the video was something of a surprise to them.
It's pretty astonishing because I didn't think that we'd really, get too far as worldwide, but it's a good feeling to know that, the word's getting out.
And as for making a difference in their lives, well, see for yourself.
I never was interested in the environment, and now that we're doing this and we're going to do cool field trips and things, it gets me more interested in it. I might want to pursue something in the career when I get older.
It adds relevance to it to begin with, but we can tell them about things within the school, but if we have actual engineers and those kind of groups in here speaking with them, and they get to see that what we're telling them is the truth, and they get to hear it from different angles, see some job possibilities and some uses for what we're teaching them. It makes it a whole lot better.
One of the 15 finalists will win up to $110,000 in technology and software from Samsung. One additional winner, called the Community Choice Winner, will be selected based on online voting. In Madison, I'm Tom Aloise for Environment Matters.
So far, Madison Middle School's video has received more than 2,000 views. You can find it on YouTube by searching Samsung USA Solve for Tomorrow. Educating local residents, businesses, and elected officials about minimizing the impacts of stormwater runoff is one of the requirements of the state MS4 permit. MS4 permits govern how cities and municipalities manage stormwater runoff, and dozens of permit holders met recently here at DEP headquarters for a Project WET workshop. Project WET stands for Water Education for Teachers, but you don't have to be a teacher to participate. Workshops feature a lot of interactive learning opportunities in an informal setting and give permit holders plenty of tools to use in their education and outreach requirements. About 24 permit holders attended this workshop, and it was so popular that several more are scheduled for later this spring. If you'd like to find out more about Project WET, you can check out their page on our website, dep.wv.gov. It's a chance to meet with legislators and provide information about the range of projects and responsibilities overseen by the West Virginia Department of Environmental Protection. DEP Day at the legislature was February 26th, and representatives from the agency's various divisions set up displays and got a chance to meet with state senators and representatives, as well as members of the public.
We've actually had a lot of teachers today with the group of kids that came in today, stop by, and they love the Enviro fact sheets. They love to be able to take them back to the classrooms and teach their students about that.
DEP Day at the state legislature is an annual event. Coming up, they're an eyesore and an environmental hazard, how a DEP program is keeping these used tires out of the landscape. Plus,
I'm Greg Adolphson in Kanawha County, where Habitat for Humanity's Restore is taking recycling and upcycling to a whole new level. We'll have those stories and more when Environment Matters continues.